A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn. Every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.
All right, we are live. Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. I forgot which one I was doing for a second.
To go in.
Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. This is for Tag Tuesday.
I am Marlecia Muses from Marlecia's Meanderings. She's a little scattered right now.
Yes, because my fob at first wasn't attaching connecting via the Bluetooth, and so distracted it. Normally we would have done our knitting podcast today as well, but we were running short on time, so we just decided to do the booktube ones today. So we'll actually probably get them up for Tuesday.
That would be nice.
So actual Tag Tuesday videos.
Yay!
We are doing the Couples Besties book tag. The original was by the Chapter Conundrum, and it was done in collaboration with her husband, Bookish Drummer. But we were tagged by the Book Bubs.
Thank you, Book Buds.
Oh, Book Buds. I always want to say Book Bubs.
Hey, bub.
Yeah. Not Wolverine.
No, not Wolverine.
X-Men reference for people who didn't get that right off the bat.
Yes.
Okay. So, first prompt. When and how did you meet? At birth.
I knew her first. She was not aware. Mm-hmm. We knew her first on January 19th, 1987.
And now you know exactly how old I am. Although it's not like I haven't said that.
You can do the math. So yes, and she was this big. She was actually exactly the same size I was when I was born.
Which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, forever. Pretty much.
So, at least for my forever.
Mm-hmm. How did we meet? Yes, we met that way.
What are some favorite books that you agree on? I think probably we can agree about the Quadrail series. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I know we have several that we
Hunger Games.
Now, I haven't finished the series yet, but
so far.
I anticipate. I actually read it before you did.
Almost anything Agatha Christie.
Mm-hmm.
We both like The Lord of the Rings.
Yes, although they're saying favorite books, so I'm not sure if that falls into favorite for you. It's not that you dislike them, but that you don't consider it a favorite necessarily.
Well, it's a favorite story. I don't necessarily. I have to be in the right mood to actually read it.
And you mix up what's in the movie and what's in the books because you have not read them often.
I have the last exposure that I have to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Well, not The Hobbit, but The Hobbit too. Is the movies. And The Hobbit, don't even get me started, the Hobbit movie. But anyway, so Agatha Christie, Quadrail series. A
lot of the Star Wars, particularly
stuff.
a Thrawn trilogy,
yeah.
which is a Timothy Zahn.
Almost anything by Timothy Zahn.
I know that there's some Timothy Zahns that I've read that you haven't yet that I'm looking forward to introducing you to.
I didn't like Angel Mask, but I'm looking forward to
I think you are at a point now where you would really enjoy it. And that was the first one I read.
Hunger Games was the other one we said.
No, I mean, I was just saying that that was the first one.
No, I know what you meant. It popped in my head what the other one was that we said was a favorite. And I had to say it before I forgot because,
Yeah, we said it.
Okay, go ahead.
We said it previously.
This is
that made.
I was reiterating. I did.
Yes, but it made no sense where you interjected.
But I tried to interject it, but you kept talking.
But okay, you just don't make sense.
I win. Okay, go ahead.
You're just wrong. Okay, so what are some favorite books that you disagree on? She Loves Anna and Green Gables. I really don't like any of them except the first one. There are aspects of it of certain other ones. I will not reread any of the other ones, most likely. I am dragging my feet on the next one, and the only reason why I'm going to read it is because I want her to read Emma. I'm afraid she won't read Emma if I don't tolerate or drag myself through this book.
I don't feel like it's fair if I have to read Emma that she can't read another Anne of Green Gables book. So I'm going to hold
my nose and read it.
I told her I would read Emma anyway, because I told her I would. But I read it, I started it, and I like the story. I like some of the characters, but she drives me nuts.
Well, Emma is a difficult character. Now, I do think that you're in a different place than you were when you read. You're more familiar with reading the era.
Yes, I've got
and
four books behind me now.
Yeah, well, I think you're on the.
I'm on the fourth.
You're on the fourth now.
Because I think
Well, you did Lady Susan, which is a novella.
Yeah, but still.
You had Northanger Abbey,
Persuasion,
Sensibility,
and Pride and Prejudice. I finished all of those.
Yes.
So that's 4 of that, and then we're in the middle of Mansfield Park.
Yes.
So by the time I hit Emma, I'll have 5 books behind me.
And there's far more depth to Austen's characters than to Ellen Montgomery's. So, I think that more can come out in the conversations that we have had. It kind of feels like when I read Montgomery stuff, it's like once I've read the first book, I've pretty much, there's not a whole lot of growth.
We should have brought the books out. I forgot to bring the books out.
But Anne of Green Gables is really the only one of that series that I like and will reread. And I have reread it many times.
And I don't know. I can't think of any others that we disagree on.
That strongly.
Strongly. The only thing I can think of is sometimes she reads, and I don't know if you have any favorites or not that are of this. If she reads something that's highly medical with graphic kinds of detail, I can't read that. I can't do it. I just don't want to. And I'm not sure you have any favorites of that, but that would be an issue.
I mean, I did enjoy Heart Healers, but I'm not sure if that would be too graphic for you or not. I am trying to think at most of the stuff, like, even if it might not be a favorite of the others, we don't actively dislike it.
Be careful how far you go into, because the next one is this.
Yeah. I think that, honestly, Anne is probably the one that we really disagree on, because as we've read Austen together, you have come to appreciate Austen. I've come to actually dislike Ellen Montgomery's work more. With each book that I've read, I just have House of Dreams. I probably liked better than some of the other ones that she's done, probably because I think she did a little bit more things that she had more characters that sounded different than in her previous ones. But I've not been terribly impressed.
I think that I love Ellen Montgomery, but I think her writing's a little uneven. And if Anne of Green Gables, if Anne and Gilbert aren't in it, I probably won't read it. I just gave to Talia de Unhall Chronicles of Avonlea, I think it was. And because if they make an appearance, it's mostly by hearsay. And I just didn't like the book that much. But she gave me the whole series, a nice little box series of Anne of Green Gables, the whole 8 books or 7 books, whatever it is. And I love them in varying degrees. Now, someone I really liked toward the end of that was Rilla.
Yeah.
And that's she takes the story at the very end, and I really enjoyed that book as well. But the second one, the Anne of Avonlea, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. I don't remember it very well. I have to go back and reread that in order.
And also because I only read Anne of Green Gables when I was younger. But the other ones I didn't read. You grew up reading the whole series, so you have the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia touching all those books, whereas I don't.
Well, I had nostalgia and comfort because that was a very difficult time of my life where I was experiencing a lot of bullying at school and stuff like that. And a friend of mine who didn't go to the same school as me, we were very close friends, and she said, "Oh, have you read these books?" And those books were comfort reads for me. All of the Anne books.
So it might make more sense why we might disagree so strongly on it, because for you to look at it in a certain light might not be even really possible because it's tied to other emotions.
I might not be completely unbiased.
Exactly. Whereas I've tried really hard to enter each book unbiased, but when you go through a series, it's going to build on itself. And if you didn't like the previous book, even if you don't try to pull into it your feeling from the next book, it's part of the same story.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with the same characters. So it's very unlikely that you're going to like it more as you go on.
Right.
So that is going to be the difference. I don't have any nostalgia connected to the other books. Okay, so for what genre, subgenre does your buddy partner read that you don't?
I don't read the medical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the medical stuff. I can't even read. I used to have procedurals and things for when I was doing, when I was writing or trying to write mysteries or, I guess for lack of a better term, private eye type things. So I used to have those, but if they got too graphic, I couldn't read them.
Right.
And she has a lot of medical kind of things that she's like, oh, Mom, this is all, no. That I can't read.
Yeah.
That she reads.
I don't think I have any that I can't read. I don't read as much fantasy that's not like classic Tolkien, but that's more of a
choice,
not as in like, I guess this says don't, not can't. But I don't even like, I can't even fully say don't, because I do, like, I'll read a Terry Brooks or whatever. I just think that you read more fantasy than I do, but it's not a genre that I don't read.
And I noticed that this year especially, I pulled back a little bit from the genre of fantasy. I still like it, but I have certain authors. Unfortunately, going forward, it's really hard to find authors who do it without putting what I call stuff in it, which breaks down to scenes and language, situations and language, adult situations and language. But I don't want to read that in my fantasy.
I think you're more open to historical fiction than I am.
I am. I think so. But that's why, and this is kind of a sidestep a little bit. This is why when I find a fiction that I really like that's more modern, like Patrick Carr's couple of series, I'd like to get them. And I wanted to go and pick them up hard copy, paperback. And I guess he's not in print anymore. I've got everything he has on Kindle and backed it up before Amazon did their thing. And I wanted to get, for this particular series, I think one has 3 books and one has 4. And then he has a standalone. I don't care much about the standalone. I get it or not get it, it's fine. But these 2 series I want. And they're astronomical. One of the books is $75. I
can find them for cheaper for you on eBay. I looked.
I want those books. I want to have them in my library because he's a modern author. I'm not sure if he's overtly Christian, but he definitely has a Christian bent. There's nothing I have to worry about, and I like the way he writes. And so that's just,
one thing I was going to say, and I think it was trying to run away, that something that, oh, there it is again. I will not read the modern day cozy mystery. And I don't mean like, they're the ones that might have like the recipes in the back or the knitting patterns in the back. Mom calls me a snob.
You are.
I am not impressed with the writing. I think it's poor quality. I think that the characterizations tend to be bland, or they tend to be a bit like types, not necessarily real characters. So I end up having no interest because why waste my time?
I don't, and to be fair, I don't read a lot of those either. I read a few.
That's just something that you've read that I will not read.
I've read on occasion.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give something a chance if it has, if somebody like on booktube or a person I trust says, hey, this would be, I don't trust reviews online. In terms, I don't mean booktube reviews. I mean like Goodreads or Amazon because they're not always accurate, to be nice about it. So I will read a cozy, a quote unquote modern cozy occasionally.
And I'm saying modern cozy because what cozy used to mean were like the Agatha Christie's, a lot of stuff the Detection Club wrote, which, in my opinion, that's good stuff. But I consider what's called cozies now to be a degeneration, degradation of the genre of cozy. And I think that, and I know that I've probably just insulted a bunch of people's favorite books. I know there's a huge swath of booktube that is.
Anything you hear on our videos is our opinion, okay, and not meant to hurt anybody else or denigrate anybody else. It's just our opinion, okay? And you are not. That grin means that she intends to denigrate somebody else. No, it doesn't. It just means she's being a brat.
It just means that you are
wrong.
Yes, you are allowed to have your
erroneous opinion.
Yes, and to enjoy your candy. My candy is different.
It's better.
Yes, my candy tastes better.
She's a brat. Okay. All right, moving along.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of anything else that
we don't read,
that one might read that the other doesn't.
Because I know we share most of our religion books.
Oh, I don't know that you read, at least I've never heard you mention it, the critical examinations of authors and their works.
Yeah, that's not something I've ever really been exposed to. I don't know if I won't read it. I don't
currently read it.
But that doesn't mean I won't.
And that's something that I've done quite a bit of, where I thoroughly enjoy. I've read examinations of Austen's work. I've read, I think I'm reading my first one of Christie's work now. I could have sworn I did another one, but maybe I haven't. But I thoroughly enjoy reading examinations of authors.
Did you do one of Louisa May Alcott?
I have it. I haven't read it yet. Yeah. And I already know from glancing through, I'm going to be arguing with the author on something.
Not only do we argue with our characters, we argue with the authors.
Yes.
But yes, because my time is so limited, and I'll talk about that at the end of this if we have time, I tend to focus on the stories and the books. And then if I get time, and a lot of times when I go to the critical things, I'm doing my devotional type things, my Bible, my saint stories, whatever it is, that kind of stuff to get explanations and things, which doesn't leave me a lot of time for what you're doing.
Well, I think the critical end of things, it also feeds into the love of the history, because a lot of times it brings in the historical context to the work, and then I experience the work in a whole different way, because now it's contextualized. Or it's also made me think about my own writing, or even though I don't write a ton, I'm one of those people who I'll watch videos about things that I have no stake in. I don't play music or write music or anything like that, but I'll watch video on video about music theory. Like, I'm interested in things. Yeah, I like hearing people talk or write about things that they're passionate about. And so, even though I don't write a ton, I enjoy reading about critical examinations of authors and their works.
I don't want to do a critical examination until after I've read the story. And then I might go back and read it. And
that's where Austen and Christie work well, because I've read almost 100% of Christie's, and I've read all of Austen's.
I don't want it to feel like school. I want to enjoy. Not that I didn't like school. I loved school. I was good at school, but I want to enjoy the book first, and then if I decide I want to look at the context or whatever, if I think that's important, then I will.
And now, because I am almost forming a type of school-like atmosphere for myself, it does make more sense that I might lean towards a critical examination in literature, because I am essentially building a syllabus for myself to keep some sort of form to my day, so things just don't blend. I have essentially like a lesson plan that's broken up into quarters. Yeah. And we're heading to third quarter right now,
including our knitting.
Yes.
What I have been playing around with doing, and this might be something that might interest Faith from Faith. Was it Faith in Books?
I think that's what.
I would like to kind of do an informal course of theology or of religion or something where you can.
Well, you'd have to also make sure that you don't overwhelm. She does heavily, very intellectual books, but we found that.
No, I don't mean that. I mean starting from basics.
Oh, okay.
Starting like using maybe as a template the books we got from Seton on Bible and apologetics, and I forget what the other two are. And moving from there, those are high school level books. But I taught those to you, but you guys at that level could do a lot on your own. So I've never really gone through those books on myself. And that would be a really good basis, because coming through the 70s, catechesis was kind of sketchy. But I would like to do, because I read about or heard about someone who's doing that, like for, I think it's for English. She's, or literature or something. She's doing some kind of course. And I would like to do that if I could figure out how to do it for theology or religion or something.
It all depends on doing it so you don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could only do like one book at a time. I couldn't do like multiple classes at once. That would be ridiculous.
Okay, so number 5. Who reads more books and pages if you know?
She does.
Yes.
I don't have the time.
You don't have the time. And the time that I have is also because I have to spend so much time alone because I overstimulate it. And a lot of that time is spent in a somewhat dark environment where I can keep it light enough where I can read a book. But anything else might be overstimulating. So it gives me more reading time.
Right. And generally, I read while I'm on the treadmill. So that means it's a Kindle book. And I prefer to read a book.
Well, we've both discovered that we absorb better in physical books. Like, I'm starting a book for Jane Austen July where I looked at it, like, I've read this before. I have no recollection of it. I only read it like 2 years ago, but I read it via Kindle and none of it stuck.
Right. And I'm finding that because I'm reading so much, and this is something that we'll address at the end, but I'm reading
as you address it now.
Yeah. No, I'm reading so much at one time that I don't remember as much. So.
But yes, I read more books and pages. Who reads faster?
I don't know. If we sat down at the same time and read, I don't know.
It's hard to tell because until recently, I primarily read history or science. So that's going to move slower than a work of fiction.
Except that my primary for a while was devotionals. And so it's day by day by day. So that makes me slow down. So, you know.
I guess that in my head I was thinking of things where it's like you can adjust your pace versus the things that you have to kind of break up day by day.
I think that both of us read fairly fast when it comes to something like Agatha Christie or Timothy Zahn.
Yeah, if we were to read the same work, I think that we probably would read at similar speeds.
Probably comparable.
Now, I don't know how that would work with the nonfiction.
Oh, I don't know. It depends because you take notes and you...
Yeah, because I like you said, I take notes, I tab.
I would take notes too on nonfiction.
That's true.
But what we decide
and
is
also
important.
What we decide is important. Also, where inclination lies might be different, so it's going to change the speeds. If you read something that I might enjoy, that might go slower for you because it's not really something you're interested in.
In order to answer that question correctly, you really have to have the same thing that you're reading and then go from there, because otherwise it's like apples and oranges. It's very difficult to compare.
Because also like something like an Agatha Christie, it's again harder to point out because I've read and reread them since I was 10. So they're going to move a lot faster for me.
You're almost skimming over them because you know what
versus like you're experiencing them for the first time.
Some of them. Yeah.
I mean, over the past, you've only started reading her over the past few years.
Yeah, but I've read several of them over again. You know, most notably the one that we just finished this Christmas time.
Right, Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Yeah. But that will also change the speed. But if we were to sit down and do Quadrail, which I think I maybe read once through before you did. Actually, I know I read once through before you did. But it wasn't one that I'd read like a ton of times before you started it. So we're about the same point of familiarity, and if we were to start at the same time, it'd be interested. But I think you're also more of a monogamous reader than I am.
That's debatable. That's debatable. I mean, I might have fewer going, but I'm not by any stretch.
Well, what I mean by more monogamous is that you've got less of the ooh shiny around you, so you might be able to focus a little bit more.
What happened when my book came in? I'm like, I'm not reading this other book. I'll let Daddy read it like he wanted to, so I can read this one for, what is it?
Private Eye July. Now, it did help that the other one, The Long, had just finished.
Yes, but still. It was like, okay.
So, okay. Who spends more money on books?
Although I'd spend a fair amount.
That is what what I use my play money for. Things that are not medicines and things that are necessities, they go towards books.
Like mine is kind of divided still between my crafting and my books. Although I have not bought crafting stuff in quite a while in any amount. I'm trying to get through my bare yarn for my shop and then decide if I'm going to close my Etsy shop so I can have my my shelves for books. But yeah, I just made a purchase today, but I got a free book.
Which is always nice.
2 books plus 1 free. So that's kind of cool, right? That's a bargain.
It is. What's a bookish or reading habit your buddy partner has that you don't? Do you annotate in your books?
Do you mean, do I take notes?
Within the book itself.
It depends on the type of book.
Okay.
If it's a nonfiction book, I will. If it's a fiction book, I don't usually, although I might underline something that hits me.
Because I will sometimes do it with fiction, although less obtrusively than I will for nonfiction.
I am more likely to try something, I think, in some ways. Like she went on already pretty vociferously about the fact that she won't do certain kinds of cozies or historical fictions. I will try some of them. Like I read a couple of years ago, Claudia, about Pontius Pilate's wife.
That's far enough.
Well, I'm using this example.
Yeah.
Because I will read. I stopped reading because I didn't like the way it was going, but I read one of them I think it's called Lady Sherlock Holmes or Lady Holmes.
Yeah, I have no desire to read that.
The first one was really good. I got disappointed with the second one and I stopped reading it. But
I don't like other authors writing characters that belong to someone else for the most part.
Yeah, but
unless it's supposed to be like actually kind of like yeah.
Did you like the 7% Solution?
I've never read it.
Yeah, too. It's good.
I don't necessarily, because it's not actually Doyle canon. I'm not really sure how I feel about that.
It's not bad.
I think that I have a little bit of an issue with its premise, but
right.
It actually kind of felt like a love letter to Freud more than anything else.
And there's that. But my point is, I'm more willing to try to give something a chance if I know there's no stuff.
Honestly, the one with Sherlock Holmes' sister almost feels like a Mary Sue type situation.
Yeah, it kind of does. After the first one, I started the second one and I jettisoned the series, but
and that is something that can be a problem when you're writing someone else's characters, is if you add your own personal character, it could easily become a Mary Sue type situation.
Right.
But a lot of times I find that people don't quite get the character voice right, or they don't get the feel of the era right, or they just simply don't feel like the author. Just because they haven't managed to fully capture the author's voice.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's very challenging when you're writing someone else's character because you have so many things that you have to recapture.
Right.
But, yeah. But bookish your reading habits. Do you listen to music when you read?
I listen to rain if I listen to anything.
Okay.
I don't really listen. I don't like to listen to stuff when I don't like music impinging on what I am reading.
Indeed.
It takes me out of the story.
It can be distracting.
It can be distracting. I don't mind that when I turn this on when I do my meditation too sometimes. It's just soft. It's called Gentle Rain with Soft Thunder. And I will turn that on very low if I want something on. Sometimes I used to read like some instrumental, but even that sometimes, no.
I mean, I know maybe one of the things that I do is I'll put my book on a book stand instead of holding it all the time. I used to knit and read. I don't do that as much anymore because I had light limitations. But I do sit there reading in near dark, which is, again, that has more to do with my medical condition than anything else. Right. But before the medical conditions, I did used to actively knit and read at the same time. Yeah. But I just don't do that as much anymore. I think that's about it, because I don't think that we have a lot of strange reading habits.
No, I mean, having a snack or tea. I think
everyone does that.
We mentioned. I think we answered that in one of the other.
Yeah,
videos.
I think we did. Okay, so Who is more likely to DNF a book?
I think at this point, I think we're about equal.
Yeah, because I think at one point I might have been more likely than you.
Yeah. Well, I would get all stressed out because I have to finish this stupid book.
Or I'll do something which I call soft DNFing, where it goes in timeout.
Yeah, that's not a DNF. That's a timeout, and I've done that.
Because I've had several books that I regretted starting without much forethought this year.
Is Arian's a hard DNF? Whap!
A hard DNF is one that I have no intention of ever touching again.
So what is Arian's? Is it murder? I mean, it's just boom.
Don't knock over your tea.
No, I won't. If I do, I'll send it to Arian. But Arian, watching her has helped me to along with DNF, to not be afraid to DNF.
Well, there's so little time like to spend reading.
Well, that's why I said to you, if you really don't want to read the next Anne book, you shouldn't.
But I really, really, really want to, because I have characters I want you to meet in Emma, and even if Emma herself is hard, I also want to discuss it with you, because there's some writing things that I want to discuss with you. There's some characters that I want to discuss with you, and I can't do that if we don't read that together. Yeah. So that's actually been the biggest thing I've enjoyed about you're going through Austen's. I finally get a chance to discuss these. I've been dying to discuss these characters with you.
It's going to be interesting to do it with the Brontes, because neither one of us have read the Brontes.
Yes, that will be interesting. I've read Agnes Grey.
Okay.
But that's the only one I've read. I already kind of dislike the main hero. No, I'm not talking about Agnes Grey.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Wuthering Heights.
Well, I don't consider him a hero. I was going to say Jane Eyre. The Byronic hero type. I don't find him particularly. Even when he's like, they're trying to make him look good for a movie.
I don't remember enough to do this.
Okay.
So just
yeah.
I've seen the movie and I like the movie.
I've seen the movie.
I've seen that movie and I've seen Wuthering Heights.
Although I think I've seen a miniseries. A lot of times I'll absorb the miniseries. But anyway, that's a DNF one. Mm-hmm. Who's more likely to give a book 5 stars, 1 star? I think you're more generous with 5 stars than I am.
I don't do 5 stars unless it's. I said that.
Okay, I thought you did
do.
More.
I don't think. Very rarely will I think it's high enough to be perfect. Okay, mm-hmm. I gave Scott and Kimberly Hahn's book.
Oh well, yeah, that absolutely deserved
a 4.9.
I gave it 5.
I said it was a 5 for stylistic and a 4.8, 4.9 for the whole thing involved. I very rarely.
Okay, maybe I give 5 more than you do then.
But I think that the next one I review might be.
Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, maybe also it can be hard to judge because I read much more than you do as well. So, like, I read the number of books I read.
But that doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, I guess that's a percentage thing.
I mean, I used to give 5s very, very often because
that's what I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm. You know, my tea reviews, all that. And I finally stopped doing that.
I think I talked to you about that. I was like, hey, you know, that doesn't help someone coming along. That's not how you truly feel about it.
Well, I say something. I usually give, if I haven't, like for the tea, if I haven't had it because I don't like grapefruit, say, or then I'll put 3. Keep in mind, I have not tasted this tea. I only know that it has this in it. I think perhaps grapefruit lovers will like this. So they know what this is.
Now, I won't always rate a book if I'm not quite sure where I would place it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'll just leave it unrated. But I think I might be more, actually I know I'm more likely to give a book a 1 star than you. And
it has to be truly terrible. I will do it. Mm-hmm. But like, I think I gave Elizabeth English Garden. Mm-hmm. I don't think I gave it quite a 1. I think I gave it like a 1.75 or 2,
mm-hmm,
but
because there's value to the style or whatever.
Something. Yeah.
I at one point gave a book a 1, and the author hunted me down on social media and lambasted me because she didn't like the fact that I didn't finish the book. And I said, well, I didn't like it enough to finish the book. I actually complained to Goodreads because Now, to be fair, I'm not sure if she hunted me down through Goodreads or through Amazon, but she made a special effort to find a place where she could contact me on social media so she could essentially yell at me.
Yeah, I mean, if she had said something like, well, why don't you like it? And what do you think would make it better? And if she was honestly interested in why she got the rating, as opposed to trying to browbeat tie it into a retraction, then that would have been something.
And I think that it was just a hard dose of the fact that maybe I was one of the few people who wasn't a friend of hers who read it, 'cause everyone else gave it 5 stars. And I actually, in the review itself, was fairly nice. I said, well, this wasn't for me, but it might be useful for someone who is an X. But for me, I really did enjoy this. I expected something different. And so for me, it's a 1 star. But...
And that's why I don't get it. If you try to couch it in that kind of terms...
I mean, I know it hurts to see that.
No, it's a blow to a person. And I get that. I feel that when you have something that's, something that you put your heart and soul into and people don't like it. But everybody has a right to their opinion as long as it's not delivered in such a manner as to be degrading or hurtful.
So, yes, I have done a couple 1 stars. I've done 2 stars. But yeah, that was the kind of a startling experience to have an author hunt me down. It's like, well, I purchased the book. I can say whatever, you have my money,
Yeah, as long as you're not liable or slander or whatever.
No, but if I'm saying merely what I thought about it, I have bought that right.
And if the lighting is going down, it's because it's raining here.
Yes, it is. Although it's going to look a little darker because I think I have it on night view on my phone. Okay, that won't be how it comes out on screen. Okay, so do you ever pick stuff out for each other at the bookstore?
Yes,
all the time.
All the time. Yep.
All the time.
Now we don't go to the bookstore anymore
but
much, but online, yes, all the time.
I'm constantly grabbing books for Mom, partially because then I want to read it, so I feel less guilty if I get it for her too.
And I often pick things out, not as much as I used to. But
well, I think sometimes you have a harder time. First of all, you don't always know what I have. That might be saying that you're either that's the thunderstorm warning or that is...
You would have gotten that across here.
I did just now. But yes. So I think I'm a little bit more likely to pick up. But like I said...
I also have to account to somebody.
Yes. And also, like I said, you aren't completely sure what I have and don't have. And I'm trying to pull you into these different areas so I can discuss certain things with you. Okay. Who is the faster audiobook speed? We both only listen at 1.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of audio.
No, we don't. But when we do, neither of us are one to speed up the book.
I don't like that. I don't want to listen to chipmunks.
Well, if I'm going to read or listen to a book, then I'm going to read or listen to the book. I'm not trying to speed read.
Yeah, I don't. If I want to enjoy the experience, and it's hard to get inflections and stuff when you got the thing. So sped up that you're 1.5, 2, whatever. No,
if I don't like the reader's speed, maybe I just don't like this reader. And maybe this is not the version I need to listen to, or more likely, I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it
Funnily
instead.
enough, the audiobook, remember I said I didn't like that one comic with the
Yes.
X-Men, X-Men Avengers.
It wasn't a comic, it was a novelization, yes.
Yeah, well, it's shown as, I think it's a graphic novel.
No, it was not a graphic novel. It was a novelization of a book.
Whatever it is, it's with them in it. They're comic characters.
Yes.
And I didn't like the narrator. Well, I didn't have anything to listen to just in the background. I don't consider it really reading because it's just in the background. And now it's okay. The narrator's okay.
So it might have been just what you were doing or where you were at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Who ventures out of their reading comfort zone more?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell because you're still expanding your comfort zone. Actually, BookTube's done a lot to expand both of our comfort zones. So, I'm not sure if either of us really has a...
We don't have limits. I mean, we do have limits. I won't read horror.
I won't either. I have no interest in that.
No supernatural horror, no horror.
No.
I don't do that. And I won't read what I call stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's the same.
Pretty much, I read almost anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think that either of us are really more... sorry about that. We got kicked out. But, and you're also going to hear very loud rain because our thunderstorm has started.
Yep.
But, no, we have a pretty wide comfort zone. So, in the form of genres. I mean, we've talked about the fact that I might not read the current cozy, but I read mysteries. So that's not really an out of comfort zone, it's just a dislike.
Right.
I don't think I have a whole lot of like comfort zone.
No, the only one, like I said, that I will not read, flat out will not read because I have nightmares, is horror and supernatural horror, vampires, things like that.
I think sometimes you don't give yourself enough intellectual credit for books. So like you might be intimidated by a book that I might not be intimidated by initially.
I guess, I don't know.
Because you've mentioned before things that where you'll that you will maybe think a book's more intellectual and you underestimate yourself. So that might be something that you travel outside of your comfort zone, but
Well, I'm more likely to do that by myself.
right.
with
Although sometimes doing it with another person means a conversation can happen.
Well, I can do it then with you, but I won't necessarily, like I had a hard time keeping up with the last one we had with the theology along with...
I had too much going on.
I had too much going on, and so I couldn't give my focus to it.
So...
I mean, I'm going to finish that book.
Eventually, yeah. Okay, who has more books on their shelves? Me again. I also read far less Kindle books.
Yeah, I have a lot on
Now,
Kindle.
part of that is, even though I have a Kindle and I will use it, part of it is that the light that can bother me, although sometimes the page is too bright too, depending on the kind of day I'm having. And then I just have a preference for physical books.
I do too. I'm finding that, although sometimes the only time I can read is on the machine or whatever, so I have to have a Kindle for that because it's not conducive.
Right. All right. Who's more likely to gift the other person books?
No, that's not true. I don't agree with that.
I do it more frequently.
You do it more frequently, but not who's more likely.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say more likely is because I do it more. You might get a just cause.
Right, but
book.
but who is more likely to do it? That is not the same as who does it more. I mean, I will gladly give you that crown, but as to who is more likely to give you a book, no, I will give you books.
No, I know you'll give me books. I guess I read it as a
frequency
because I don't think either of us are unlikely to give books. Simply
this
because
whole family gives books.
And that's always been a thing. So because I kind of read it as a more often type of thing. Because you'll turn around like, oh yeah, I just this book here. Let's see. When you're around each other, are you more or less likely to read? We have reading days.
We read. We have 2 reading days a week where we read sections of the book and then discuss it. So I don't know if we're more or less. We have it scheduled into our week.
Right.
So there are days when we read books and there's days when we discuss it or we write or we craft or whatever.
I think that it's done a lot for helping our reading aloud and like those kind of skills of diction or whatever. But no, I don't think that you could argue we're more likely to read simply because we have scheduled days. And at least we know on those days we'll get something read. Although I generally read every day.
I do too.
Let's see. And then choose people to tag. So yeah, if you watch this, you are tagged.
You are tagged.
You're it.
And we have to tag BookBub.
Yes.
Book buds.
Book buds.
Thank you for tagging us again.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, this was fun. I'm actually surprised that it didn't ask about the one I just answered, and I can't remember what I had just said. About do you read every day?
Right.
Maybe that was a different video that I watched that asked if you read every day, because both of us do read every day. Also, I'm trying to keep up my Storygraph streak.
Yes,
so,
me too.
And I think I'm going on 2, maybe 3 years of a streak, so it's like I'm not willing to break it, even if it's 1 page. But yeah, that's it for us. We hope to get these videos up. We did one for her channel, one for my channel. We hope to get them up for Tuesday. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you for the next video.
God bless.
God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.